ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, the #1 sports information program in America, the Breakfast Bankroll, with your host, the sports broker, Jeff Dawson.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the co-host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors. Welcome to our Thirsty Thursday edition of the Breakfast Bankroll, live from warm Cape Cod at 36 degrees. Our co-host and sidekick, but we've been doing shows forever. My partner in crime, Mr. Scotty Webb, live from Tampa. Shout out to PB, who's sent some warmth already this morning. We might get into the low 50s today. It's crazy. You know, we get about 7 inches of snow Saturday and Sunday, and now we're at, I don't know, going to be 50 degrees today. But first and foremost, a shout out to our proud partners and sponsorships. It's WagerWire. Head on over to Google Play, download the app. It is free. And of course, Atlanta Steaks and Seafood.com. Steaks, seafood, chops, appetizers, wines. Terry's got it all. Go visit him at Atlanta Steaks and Seafood.com. Shout out and a good morning to Swag. It's the weekend is here, as I like to say on Thursdays. Thirsty Thursday, so much going on. Rams head into Seattle for first place on the line in the NFC West. Most likely, of course, without Devontae Adams. Puka's brother gets arrested. Going to be rain and wind there. I mean, that sounds like Seattle weather. A game that was played a few weeks ago in LA. And Sam Darnold was Sam Darnold in the big spot. I think he had 4 interceptions. They had 5 turnovers in all, and yet they were kicking a field goal to win that game. A lot of money overnight has come in on Seattle right now at the Circa. Good morning, and good morning to Mr. Benson and Mr. Stevens at the Circa right now. Seattle -2 and 42. There is a bowl game going tonight as well, Missouri State and Arkansas State. Not much in baseball, but let's bring them in. Let's start talking. Mr. Scotty Webb. What's up, Scotty?
Hey, man. Good morning. Looks like you might be wearing T-shirts today.
Yeah, I might have to get the sunblock.
I'm good with that. And to answer Swag's question there, I'm not going to be talking any NHL. So if you want to talk NHL on this show, you can talk all you want, but I'm not going to talk any today. Although I will say Tampa Bay's been playing pretty well.
Yeah, and the Bruins are playing over their ski, Swag. Tomorrow, Swag, right around 10:30 a.m. Eastern, I will be on Andrew McGinnis's channel at McGinnis Picks and at Wager Talk. Today we'll be talking a little NFL, a little college bowl action as we get ready for the big boys on Saturday. But our NHL swag will be on Friday. Not much. We had Wednesday off, you and I. Not much to talk about in the baseball front. some reset of the markets. They're trying to say Kyle Tucker now 10 for 411. That was the number I saw. And if that is the case, there's I know the Yankees ain't paying 411. Are the Mets paying 411? I mean, that's a Dodger price there with the deferrals that they do there. The Bregman to Arizona has come to a screeching halt. That is Fugazi for the most part. Maybe Boris and his boys doing their thing. Give us your thoughts on the MLB, Scotty.
Well, I think at some point, these guys are getting priced out of the markets. And what I mean by that is, if there's only one or two teams that are going to be competitive to sign a free agent because of the price tag, then I don't think they're really in a market. They're in it. Well, does this team really want to spend the money, or do they not? And if they don't, well, then these guys are going to find themselves in trouble. So I think we're at that crossroads in Major League Baseball on some of this stuff and what's the value and what's not valuable. So I think in terms of baseball, I think you're going to see, and some of this stuff we're already seeing. We're seeing some of these things where guys are coming off the list, and Swag says, "Go Phillies." Phillies made a couple good signs. They signed some relief pitchers, and I did like where is it? Here we go. Philadelphia. They signed Brad Keller yesterday, and I think that's a good move because when you think about what's not there, and their best pitcher's not there, so they're going to need some bullpen help, and Brad Keller's a good person for that. And they also, where's Philadelphia? Philadelphia. So Philadelphia signed Adolis Garcia, which we talked about. And then they have, they got somebody else. Where is it? Well, I don't see it right there. I thought they signed another relief pitcher, but maybe not. But I like the idea of Brad Keller. Brad Keller was someone that, as a starter, just didn't make it very well. He's decent stuff. Put him in a bullpen. He throws 100 miles an hour, for God's sakes, and people don't really realize that he throws that hard. Swag says, "This is my team. Disappointing postseason." Look. When you lose your best pitcher, it's really hard to overcome that. And I was saying all last year that I thought they were a team that was going to battle the Dodgers and be good. But your pitcher goes down, and that changes the whole dynamics. And my only so right now, what the Phillies are in a spot where they don't know what to do with Castellanos. So I don't think you're going to have Castellanos. I think they're going to move him. So if he's one of your favorite players, I don't think he's going to be a Philly. I think they're going to move him. So I think you're going to end up seeing a different look to that team. I think it needs a different look to that team. I don't know what they're going to do at catcher. I don't know if they're going to go back and try to get – well, I'm sure they're going to try to get Real Muto. But at the same time, I don't know where they're going to go there, and that's a concern. When you lose Real Muto and you don't have a replacement for him, that's a problem. Now, Real Muto is not, the premium catcher in the league anymore, but he's a pretty good player still. So I think Philadelphia's kind of in a weird spot that way, but Dombrowski's a really good general manager. He's just not afraid to go spend the money. They're not afraid to go do whatever. The only thing I would tell you is when he's done, you're going to be in a rebuild. So you better win, because when Dombrowski leaves, that team's going to have to be torn down, because they won't have anything left. There won't be any minor league system. There won't be any, all the money will be spent and all that stuff. So anyway, I think I was disappointed in the Phillies in the sense that I liked them. Jeff and I talked about it a lot last year. I always thought that they were just as good as the Dodgers in every step of the way. but you can't match up on the mound. You're not gonna get there. So um, Bryce Harper, I think is one of these players that at some point, he was an MVP. Right now, I'm not sure he's an all-star. I think he's a great player. Don't get me wrong. He can be a lot of things. So I don't know what his motivations are and where he's at, and he's having babies and all that stuff. So I don't know where all that stuff kind of goes. But I think Phillies. I think Phillies are a team that needed Schwarber, so they signed him. I would like to see more out of Turner as well. I think Turner can be one of the most elite players in baseball. But there's something weird with the Phillies, and what I mean by weird is they got really good players, but they don't always play really good. So and then sometimes they go on streaks where they just dominate everybody. So I like their pitching. I like their bullpen. I like the closer. I love the idea. I love the idea. The guy comes in and tarantulas and all this stuff and everything's happening. Duran's coming in. I love all that. I'd love to be there. I think it'd be a great environment. So anyway, I like the Phillies. I think they're good. Now, all that being said about all the Phillies, look, man, the Braves are going to be the best team in the American and the National League East this season. So there's going to be a very big competitive battle there. I think people have left the Braves out to die, and I think it may be a different story. And I don't know what the Mets are doing. So we'll see how all that plays in, and eventually, the Marlins are going to get to a point where they're more competitive. So.
The outside looking in, we pre-flop had a lot of Atlanta Brave action last year, and injuries, Strider, Schwellenbach, Acuna, and the big guns just not hitting. Chris Sale gets hurt mid-season to late season.
Well, don't forget about Ronaldo Lopez, who was doing great for them, and he's out. He was gone. They had nobody at the end.
So I am all back in on the Braves. Too early to give out any some futures and stuff there. But when I look at the Phillies, I think the window is left the barn, because when I look at them, yes, they had to re-sign Schwarber. A must. There was some digs that Harper, as you said, is on the decline. You add a Trey Turner. You add a Realmuto. You talked about the other batter there, Castellanos. So they need some youth there. Is it an Alec Baum? Is it whoever? They need some jump starts there, and they need these veterans to kickstart there. It's going to be a very competitive NL East, but if the Braves catch lightning in a bottle in April and early May, you don't want to be chasing, because you talked about those Marlins who are going to be competitive. Will they be 500 this year? Probably not, but again, will Alcantara be there? They got arms for a mile long there. They just never could get that clutch key hit. They're always missing that. I've said for years here, Scotty, when I played the Marlins, first and second, no outs, bases loaded, no outs, and then strikeout, fly out. I mean, they could never push. They never could get the crooked numbers. So we'll be doing so much baseball talk. And a big shout out again to Swag. Always stay here for baseball talk. We'll be doing it throughout the year. Scotty will be at the World Classic this year as well. So we got a lot of baseball talk there coming. Big game in the NFL tonight. Money coming in on Seattle. They've been my darling all year. Scotty, the Rams were slight favorites at one point this week. I'm showing an opening number of a pick'em and a 46.5. The true opening number was actually, I've seen some Rams -1, 1.5. Now again, Seattle -2. A lot of social media chirping going on with Puka's brother getting arrested. Add Devontae Adams most likely out. wet track, windy, 30-mile-an-hour gusts. It's one of these smash mouths on paper. First one to 23 wins, Scotty.
Yeah, look, this is a flashy matchup, right? I mean, you got the old guy at quarterback for one team, Stafford. It's like the MVP front runner and all that stuff, and you got McVay, offensive genius on one side, and then on the other side, you don't know what you're going to get from Darnold, but you got Smith and Jigba, and you got Nakua, the top two receivers kind of in the league, and all these different things, right? And all we're talking about the offense. Look, these two teams are defensive teams. And I bet this game just a little bit ago. Running it through my AI and doing some different stuff with it and how it breaks down. Okay, first of all, the weather is 43 degrees. Okay, well, everybody can play football in 43 degrees. It's no big deal. I think the Miami Dolphins can probably play football in 43 degrees. You get them at 38, they can't play. So I think that's 43 degrees isn't the biggest problem that you're going to have there. You're going to have a lot of rain, like a lot of rain early in the game, and then it becomes a drizzle about halfway through the game, and it becomes a drizzle for the rest of the game. But you're going to get a lot of rain early. And secondary to that, you have relatively high winds. I mean, 15-mile-an-hour winds at the start of the game, but they gust to almost 40. So it really depends on how that really plays out, because nobody can throw the football in 40-mile-an-hour winds. It just that doesn't happen. So I think weather is going to be an impact in the game. Now, so the question then throws out, okay, well, can they hang on to the damn football? You know what I mean? Like, we don't want fumbles. We don't want all this stuff, because the way I'm going to interpret this is I'm going to bet this game under. So and I'm going to do it now because it's going to just right down below. So if you like what I'm saying, look, you got to bet it early because it's going to keep falling. The number's already falling. But so as this is going, and what I'm going to tell you is, so that's first. So in these conditions, I think the first thing you think about is, and this is what my AI spit out. The first thing it spit out was the sloppy field crosswinds should limit deep shots and boost turnovers, but expect fewer than 45 pass attempts in the game. Well, think about that for a minute. 45 pass attempts. Shit, one quarterback can throw 45 times. So if there's theoretically less than 45 pass attempts in this game, it's a lot of clock getting eaten up. That's a lot of time running off the clock. And the other part of this, if I can go click my numbers here for 1 second. The Seattle defense is ranked number 2 in the NFL. And obviously the number 1 defense is Houston. So Seattle's defense is ranked number 2, and the defense for the Rams are ranked number 3 in EPA. Now these are the numbers. So when you start to think about how these things match up, they match up very well. Now certainly the Rams offense is way better than the Seattle offense. I think the quarterback is way better for the Rams. So, and to be honest, I think the running back for the Rams, Kyron Williams, is way better than you're going to see on the Seattle side. Now, Seattle's also missing their left tackle, so we don't talk about a lot of things in those stretches, but my thoughts are this: I think you're going to see the defenses dominate the game. I think you're going to see short passes. So I think what that kind of dictates is a game where they'll move the ball a little bit back and forth. You might see some field goals, and as opposed to touchdowns. And I also think you're going to see a weather situation that changes the game. I'm trying to look at some other stuff that stood out. Do we know what Devontae Adams is doing yet?
He's out.
I don't think he's going to play. He hasn't practiced all week. I don't think he's going to play. So the strength the strength of kind of both of these teams is play action pass. Well, they might be able to get that going just a little bit, but it's not going to be deep shots. It's going to be short shots because they're going to run the ball a lot. So anyway, my thoughts as it kind of came down to it is this is going to be a lot of time coming off the clock. 42 in the NFL on a total is a key number. Right now, you can get it at 43 or 42 and a half, depending upon where your book is and what it is. I bet it under 42 and a half because that was what Profit X had. 43 was a different juiced number I could bet, but so I bet it under 43 and a half. I like a lot about this game, and to be really fair about a lot of stuff, I put a ton of data into AI this time, way more than I normally do because I didn't know if it could handle it, and it took a lot, like a lot. So, in other words, I put in data that showed year-to-date numbers and the last 4 game numbers, third down data, 3-and-out data, quarterback data. I put a lot of stuff in here, and what I got spit out was great. It's great information, and basically, here's the synopsis. This shapes up as a low-scoring field position battle. Seattle's home defense and weather gives them kind of an edge, but Adams, assuming he's out, opens up underneath. Sometimes it kind of gets these guys' names mixed up. So it sometimes, thinks certain players are playing and they're not playing. But that's just a name. It looks at, the position. And then Rams efficiency holds. So a grind out favors the Rams scheme, but Seattle covers at home. Well, then it says that, and then it predicts the number as Rams 21, Seahawks 17. So it didn't, it just messed up how it said it to me. 21-17. I think that's a reasonable guesstimation. And then what I always ask it to do is go, okay, you said 21-17. So give me your confidence level in this because I want to know what you really think, right? So it comes back and it says best bet is under 42 and a half. It simulates all these games 10,000 times in its thing. And it goes and says 65% win rate at that with similar wet, windy conditions in Seattle games. Both defenses are top 10 in EPA allowed. Offenses regress at 15%. Think about that. Because of the weather, the offenses are going to regress, and you got great defenses. So let's start really kind of backing that down a little bit. It says side, the Rams plus 1.5. I didn't know this, and I have to go verify it, but I didn't know this. It says McVay owns rematches. Did you know he was 7-2 in the last 9 times in rematch games? I didn't know that. And then Seattle's left tackle woes. They've allowed 3+ sacks at left tackle. Well, that helps the unders too, because if they can't pass and you can't throw, and Darnold's out there doing all kinds of stupid stuff, you might run into problems. So then it says in Jigba over 5.5 receptions because they're not going to be able to move the ball or whatever. It says 7.2 targets a game versus man coverage. So they think they're going to throw to him. Anyway, the number one bet in the game is under 42.5 or 43, whatever your book has. And I went with it. I thought it was a great analysis, and I broke it down that way, and that's how I bet it.
Ball game last night, ODU beats USF 24-10. You talked about USF. You talked about coaching staff, yada, yada, yada. Here comes ODU. What have you seen so far in the bowl games? Well, under. Well,
don't forget, we gave out Jacksonville State on Tuesday because we got some late information in that game. It was a weird game, but so I forget who was Jacksonville State playing in that game?
Troy,
right? So Troy scores a touchdown on on defense. It's the only touchdown they scored the whole game. They kicked a field goal. That's the only points they had in the whole first half. They didn't score in the second half. So Jacksonville State ended up winning the game and so forth. But we kind of have a similar thing going on tonight. I didn't break it down, but I gave it out. I told people I was on Missouri State, and we gave that out Tuesday. Well, now Missouri State's the favorite. When I bet them, they were the dog. So now, granted, they were +1. Now they're -1. So whatever that means in terms of favorite and dog. But so there's spots in these situations to kind of keep track of. Now, again, I didn't bet a lot of money on Jacksonville State. I certainly didn't bet a lot of money on Missouri State, but I bet them. Now, I will say that I bet way more money, way more money on Friday night's game with Alabama, and I bet, and I added a game on Saturday. So these bigger conference games, the games where you get Alabama and in this case Oklahoma, and you're playing teams like Oregon, and you're playing Miami and Texas, and they're more reliable in how they're going to produce and perform. So I don't have a problem when you handicap the game and it comes back to you, and you can then look at being able to throw more money on it, because the less other stuff that happens in these smaller conference games, like how Troy scored a touchdown, for God's sakes? They punted, and Jacksonville State, got the ball at their own 15-yard line. They had just scored a touchdown, so they had a little bit of momentum. So they decide from their own 15-yard line they want to do some kind of trick play. So they pitch the ball around, like they're going to throw not a Hail Mary, but a flea flicker pass. The quarterback gets the ball. He's holding it in his hands out front, while one of the defensive guys smacked the ball out of his hands, falls around. They fall on it in the end zone. That's how they scored their touchdown. And if they would have just ran a play or done whatever from there, they wouldn't even have scored a damn touchdown in the whole game. Anyway, my point being is that smaller conference games, that stuff happens. Bigger conference games, sure, it's going to happen from time to time, but it's not going to be a regular thing. What's going to be a regular thing is these guys are going to line up and they're going to say, I'm better than you, and we're going to go prove it. And that's what they do. They play it and play it a little differently. Anyway, my thoughts on big conference, small conference.
Right, we'll be back tomorrow around 9:15, 9:30. And so what we're going to do is tomorrow I'm going to have you break down. There's 3 games. There's 2 big favorites, Oregon over James Madison now at 21, and Mississippi 17 and a half over Tulane. And the big close game is A&M versus Miami of Florida. Right now, A&M -3, -115. There is a 3.5 out there. But let's go to this game. Will be played tomorrow. Alabama, Oklahoma. This line is flip-flop back and forth. Oklahoma -1, Alabama -1. Currently at the Circa, Oklahoma -1 with a 40. They played a handful of weeks ago in Alabama. Alabama was about 5.5, 6-point favorites. Oklahoma came in and steamboated them. Shout out to PB as he reposted the stream. Thank you as always, PB. Thank you for the heat here in Cape Cod. We're up to 37 degrees. But here you go, Scotty. Alabama, Oklahoma.
So, right, these teams played already. Oklahoma beat Alabama in Alabama. So what you got here is you've got a decent defense. I shouldn't say decent. They're a good defense. Alabama's defense is good. I mean, if you look at them on your sheet there, if I pull it up to match so I can tell you exactly what numbers are, but Alabama, boop, there we go. So Alabama on defense, they rank 26. That's really good, right? I mean, there's 130 schools and they're 26 on defense. On offense, they rank 32. Well, Oklahoma's got an elite defense. They rank 7th. So they got a really good defense. And then, but their offense, man, they can't score any points. They rank 93rd on offense. 93rd. So that's a major problem when you're facing a team that's actually good. So here's kind of how this game works out in a lot of ways. EPA wise and effectiveness wise, you can see it. Look at all the purple for the Alabama's offense. Oklahoma's offense. 93rd passing, 127th rushing, 104th in available yards. All right, so how are they going to win this game? Well, they're going to win this game if they win this game because their defense stops Alabama. Well, they probably will to a lot of degree if you look at it. EPA per pass is 7th, rushing 6th, available yards 7th, starting field position 3rd, on first downs, on early downs, on third. They're in the top 10 on all this for Oklahoma's defense. Well, what's good for Alabama is they've already seen it. They can make adjustments. They can do the different things. Offensively for Oklahoma, they don't have the resources to make the changes. They don't have the ability to change that look to attack any way differently. Their team is insufficient and ineffective on offense. So they're going to need to have some special things out of Mateer, and we've seen Mateer. He's not special. He was thought to be, but he's just not. The quarterback for Alabama, Simpson, is way more reliable, way more dependable, drop back passer. I think he's going to do just fine in this football game. So you end up with an Oklahoma offense. I'm looking at my notes. Is a grindy but inefficient team. You know, they average 70 plays a game, 71, and they're not the most effective on what they're doing in producing those yards. And when you look at what Alabama is on offense, they are a efficient offense that can't run the ball. They throw the ball all the time, and you can see offensively when you look at your sheet there, offensively throwing the football. They're 32. Running the ball, they're 101. I think they'll do some play action, some do different things, but I don't think they're going to really try to run the football. I think you're going to see a lot of dinks and dunks and then some deep shots from Simpson in this game. Alabama's defense is solid but not elite, which we talked about. I think they're a good football team on defense. Oklahoma on defense, they're really good. But you have Simpson versus Oklahoma, and that's I think where you're going to see some better spots here. So do I think Oklahoma gets pressure on the quarterback? I think they will. I think that they're going to get a sack or two. I mean, it's just the way it's going to be. But I think Simpson's going to be good. When you look at Mateer against the front, he's going to have to run the football. He's not been effective throwing the football at all. And I think when you think about how this game goes, I think you run into the idea that turnovers are going to be an issue in this game, and kind of how does it go, because it's a run heavy grinding game. I think you're going to see Alabama make some changes, do different things. I think you're going to also see the ability of Kalen DeBoer. I know people don't like him, but I think you're going to see Kalen DeBoer out coach Oklahoma in this spot. I bet this game Alabama on the money line. I think my number was minus 102 is what I bet. I think right now, because the changes in the line, if I go back and look, college football, this game specifically, Right now, it's OU minus 103. You can get plus 102 on Alabama. So, or at least that's my numbers. So I think where you're looking at in this specific game, I'm just going to say who's going to be the winner because it's hard enough to pick it. I think Alabama wins this game. I think Oklahoma comes up short. I think DeBoer shows he's been in these spots a lot more than the Oklahoma head coach. And don't forget, he was the defensive coordinator for Clemson, so he hasn't done a whole lot in these games. DeBoer was played the national championship game with Washington. So, and when he was in the smaller conferences, he's been in all of those. So I think he's in the job role. He's there. This is why Alabama got him. I think they win this game, and I think they'll have a problem the next time with the next game they play. But this game, I think they win. I think they beat Oklahoma in Oklahoma, and I think when I bet it, it's not a. I put a lot more money on it, but it's not necessarily the best bet of the weekend, but it's a good bet. I will tell you this. I added a game yesterday that I didn't think I was going to bet. I bet Oregon minus 21. I didn't bet them minus 21 and a half. I got 21. You can bet Oregon at minus 20 and a half. But the AI and working through it, that was the best play. And I didn't want to bet it at minus 21 and a half. So it got to 21. So I redid it, ran through some other stuff. Think about this. It's going to be, what you're seeing in Seattle. I mean, that's where they're going to play. They're going to play up in Oregon. So it's going to be a wet game for this game. James Madison, how many points is James Madison going to score against Oregon? That's the question. And if you think they score less than 2 touchdowns, there is no way that Oregon can't cover this game. So that's where I'm at. I don't think they score more than 2 touchdowns. I think they score 10 points, 13 points for James Madison. We'll break it down, but I don't think they score that. So I think you sit there and go, yeah, they're going to win by 3 touchdowns. So I bet it. And then in the other game, I bet Miami. So just so you know what I'm on, I didn't break all these things down and we didn't put a graphic up, but I'm on Missouri State tonight, right? And I think you can still bet them. I mean, what are they, minus 1? So they were plus 1, so now they're minus 1, minus 1.5. So I just tell you, bet it small. I'm on Missouri State. I'm also on Friday. I'm on Alabama, and I'm on Saturday. I'm on Miami plus the 3.5, and I'm on Oregon minus 21. Those are the bets that I've made so far, and that stuff changes. And I bet the NFL game under 42.5, and I did the Saturday games, so we can break those down tomorrow if you want. But we'll look at those too, because I was so shocked at the number 1 play it gave me.
Well, we will be back tomorrow, 9:15, 9:30. We'll recap the Seattle Rams game. We'll talk about the bowl game. We'll reemphasize, of course, as Alabama, Oklahoma on Friday. We'll talk about Miami, A&M, Oregon. There are a couple NFL games. The big one, of course, is
Chicago Bears.
Chicago and Green Bay. 11 o'clock, Matt Grissom will be here to talk SEC. We'll see how he finished up in the Westgate Superbook college football card. 1 o'clock, Ron Marmolewski will be back before the holidays to talk some NFL and some college football. Closing thoughts, sir.
Yeah, I think closing thoughts are this. I talk a lot out here about a lot of things, and one of the things I think that's important to understand is data-driven information is better than hype and talk and theoretics about different things, right? So one of the good points that was made, because I put out a ton of information into the AI computer, and And one of the things I thought was kind of interesting was I put in trend information and different things that I get from other places and other sources because I don't look at a lot of that stuff. And I thought, well, maybe it'll influence this. And it comes back and it says, that's vibe-based handicapping, big on storylines, revenge spots, coaching angles, momentum narratives, and that can occasionally spot something pure numbers miss, but it really isn't showing anything that your numbers don't already capture. So think about that. If you're out listening to trend information, you're listening to angles, and you're listening to hype and different other circumstances from other places. Understand that the numbers already capture most all of that stuff. They do. So it's about matchups, guys. It's about how does this team do against that team? What does it look like on the offense and defensive line? Who's going to be able to win the wide receiver, linebacker battles, tight end battles, stuff like that? Who's going to be? All that matters. Who's the better coach? What's the better scheme? And if you're giving proper data and analyzing it, meaning that you're also looking at formations, you're looking at how teams do on specific spots, whether they're throwing the ball deep, whether they're throwing the ball short, whether they're throwing the ball over the middle, all of those kinds of things, what the personnel situations look like. What do they do with 11 personnel or 12 personnel or 22 personnel? How does the defense do in zone? And what are they doing on blitz packages and pressure? All of that goes into what I do, all of it. So think about what you're actually listening to versus what the 2-second snippet stuff is. Because the 2-second snippet stuff that you hear on ESPN and Fox and everywhere and other handicapping shows is great. It's all hype and fun and it's all this stuff, but it's not substance. It's not based on fact, reality. It's based off of, well, it could be fact, I guess. It's just a matter of how you read a trend. They don't tell you the other trend, right? So for every trend they give you positive, there is one that's negative because that's the way it works. I said it the last time we were on. If you're a trend better, you're going to be a 50% situational person. That's the way it is. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. Get to understand how it really works. And when you understand how it really works, I think you're going to be way more confident in what you're doing. You'll bet bigger numbers. And I guess that's the last thing I want to mention is I was talking to a guy I was playing poker with yesterday, and he goes to me, well, how much do you think I bet? I go, dude, most players bet $20 to $50 a game. He goes, I bet $1,000. He's an old guy. That's what he said. I bet $1,000. I go, well, you got a local guy or are you betting it through an account? He goes, I can't handle how to handle my damn phone. How do I have an account? I got a local guy. I just pick up the phone. I call him. I say, I bet $1,000 on this, that. And I said, okay, great. But my point to you is I got an 80-year-old guy betting $1,000 on a football game. Most of the guys we talk to, hear from, are betting $50 on a game or less. How much does a pizza cost if you order a pizza and you have it delivered to your house and you have breadsticks or whatever, or my wife likes, garlic cheese bread, that comes and, chicken wings or something, and here's some, a 2-liter gallon of Coke or something. It's $50. Think about what you're betting. I get it. Jeff talks about pizza and beer money. Yeah, look, if you think pizza and beer money is $20, it ain't $20. It's way more than that in today's society. You better start betting a lot more money. And the reason I say it this way is because if you think you're going to get somewhere and you're not betting a bigger figure, then the reality becomes you're just going to spin your wheels anyway. So what difference does it make? So anyhow, bet bigger, get convicted on your bets, listen to the right information, and then take that advantages, because you're not going to get those advantages watching other people.
A lot of noise pollution out in the lanes on social media. It all depends on who you follow, who you watch, who you listen to, and the bottom line, it's up to you whether you weren't playing the game and it's 5 minutes before kickoff and you're like, ah, shit, I just heard this. It's all up to you. But at the end of the day, the end of the game, it's then again all up to you. You know, if you wake up the following morning, why did I bet that? I was stupid. And then you press and you're just doubling down, and it usually ends in a frown. So again, we've been talking here now for 10 years about bankroll management. We've been talking about conviction. We've been talking about having a plan. Maybe for some of you, that is your 2026 New Year's resolution. Matt Grissom back in 40 minutes on the midday market report, and the closing bell today at 1 o'clock. Ron Marmoleski live from LA. From myself, Jeff Dawson at ET Sports Invest, the one and only Mr. Scotty Webb at Webby20MLB. A shout out again to Swag, PB, Oakley, One, Avish. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you turn on those notifications. Tell a friend. Retweet the show for us. It's like tipping the dealer at the Bellagio. We can't thank you enough. Go grab yourselves an eggnog latte and see you back soon.